Hello there, it's Ina here, and yes, I found another one of those fun kids toy trays, and this one has 3 small compartments right here and a rather big one here, and it's colored too. Usually they come pretty plain, maybe with a little stamp or the emblem on one side, but anyway, I want to cover it, of course, and I'm thinking of using black gesso. I don't use my black gesso very often, but I think it might be a nice change. So I will be starting by just filling in the inside. I want it all black. Now here on the bottom, I'm going to go very simply just covering it. But I'm thinking that here on the edges, I'm going to put it on fairly thick and not necessarily all, in one stroke. So it gives me a little texture at the same time. It's of course more subtle than modeling paste, but I think it will be good. Okay, well, let me finish this, let me cover this, and I will be right back. So everything is painted, and here I'm adding 3 simple kids toy wooden blocks with my tacky glue, and I found this Duplo gear piece. It moves, and so I am just filling in the holes so that eventually when I glue it down, I have a better surface, a bigger surface to hold it. So I'm marking the spot where I will glue this Duplo piece after it's dry. And then I'm adding some drywall tape to give the background some texture as well, just randomly for a little extra effect. Now again, I will be adding all kinds of findings, lots of little kids toys and game pieces. I also still have some of my broken jewelry left over, some pieces from the handyman department, and odds and ends. These are 2 more wooden blocks. I think they're from this stacking game. What's it called? Sorry, forgot. You probably know. I want some of the elements to be a little raised, so I'm adding those to the corners. And now I'm starting to fill in my little box with all the things I collected. And I will show you just the beginning part because this is just gluing, a lot of gluing. And then I will explain it to you when I've glued everything down what fits in my little box. So I'm done gluing all my little bits and pieces down. It's dry. It's ready for me to cover with my gesso. But before I do so, I want you just to see what kind of elements you can use in a project like this, which is really anything. I used E6000 to glue most of these down. It glues really well, but it definitely also glues your fingers, and I'm still cleaning up. So really quickly, I'm going to rattle off here some of the pieces so you get an idea. Toy piece, game piece, flip-flop, Star Wars piece, broken jewelry, handyman, there's a foot of a game, a puzzle piece, a button, handyman, a star button, a funny dice, there's jewelry piece, a chip from the casino, game piece, pencil sharpener, these cheap rings, toy little cattle, a handle of a drawer. These pieces are from the electric department, a heart, a little phone piece, a funny ball, paper clip. This is a game piece, a tire with a little flower, a game piece, and some shells. There's another shell over there. That's a kid's toy too. There is broken jewelry. These funny shapes are buttons, this, and this, and the cupcake as well. There are different beads and buttons and rings. There are these little ball chains in different places. I added those. Dice, more beads, toys. There's a star underneath, handyman department. This is the speaker of a small radio. There is a hinge, broken jewelry, a big nut, a screw. There's of course the Barbie boot, some gears, fancy little beads. There's a domino game piece, another little game piece. Yeah, I think that's pretty much a majority of things. And so you can see you can use anything. Of course, the more fun the shapes, the nicer. So I will go ahead and cover this in gesso now. Again, painting it is very simple and self-explanatory. So I'm just showing you the beginning and then the final results. It is all black and it's all nearly dry. Now it's a good idea to look at the project from different angles, as there's always some corners you miss. So I went back to with a smaller brush and touched up some areas, and those are still drying. But I want to go ahead and prepare the pieces which I want to put in here. So I have these two mirrors I want to put here, and I found this little thermometer, and that would go in the middle. Now I do want to also change them a little bit on the edges, so I'm going to work on that while the other thing is drying. Now I think I want to do this with gesso as well, but just super simply, not too much, just a little bit. So I'm speeding this up a little bit just so my video doesn't get too long, and you can see what I'm doing here. Just dabbing a bit of the gesso because I wanted to have rough edges just like I did on my box itself as well. There are little blobs of paint on the edges, and I like it that way. So first I'm adding a little bit of black, and then this will have a chance to dry. Now there's two mirrors, there is this little thermometer, and I also found this little plastic box, and I am going ahead and covering this as well, and you will see later what's my idea with the thing. So everything is dry now here in my box, and I am spraying it. I'm using a blue, I'm using a turquoise, those are glimmer mist. And of course it takes a few coats to penetrate the black. So you see a little part of it here, but I'm spraying quite a bit more. And I didn't keep everything in the video as it just got too long. And now I'm using my metallic acrylic paints. This is a color called champagne. It's kind of a light beige or maybe egg color, I presume. And as you can see, it works really nicely to bring out the highlights and to bring some color to the raised areas. And again, this part went a lot longer than what you can see here, but it's just a very repetitious process. So I'm giving you just a highlight of my coloring. I also added the paint to the sides of the box to bring out the texture. And then I moved on to my ultra vivid metallic paint in turquoise. I used it together with the white. I used it together with my normal turquoise metallic paint. And here I'm adding some gold texture paste as well. Just here and there. I'm really playing. It went back and forth between the colors and the highlights and the shadows. So as I said, I shorten it for you a little bit. So this is the results for now. And now back to my little elements here. They of course need a little more color. So I'm using basically the same colors to touch up the black gesso, as well as a bit of the gold texture paste. And now it's time to glue down those three elements. Of course, they're dry by now. I just use my E6000 again, and I try to position them in the middle of these little squares. And let's see, then I had the idea to add a few little turquoise beads. So I'm just putting a little E6000 on my desk and pick up just a tiny bit using my tweezers. It seems to be the easiest way to position these beads in these tight spots. I like to just add a little bit of a different aspect to this assemblage. Okay, and then comes the little embellishment for my box. It's a little filigree flower and a 3D sticker in the middle. And of course, I am also altering just the same way as the other ones. And here you see the box. It is full of little sequins, and I glue it shut. And as you can see, it's only painted on the bottom and on the sides. So I'm touching it up a little bit, and it also gets a little more of the different colored paints. Again, just like the other elements to make it all kind of match together. And then I can do the same with the little decoration. So a lot of painting and waiting and painting and waiting for things to dry here. A little spray as well. And as soon as this is dry, I can put it together. There it goes, right on the top. And then it can go on the Duplo piece, which is of course already attached to the middle of my box. It is really cold today here in Colorado. We already had very nice spring weather, but today it is cold. The sun is shining, but anyway, this project had all night to dry, and now everything is nice and secured, and everything is done. My box, I can move it around now. I like that I found this little Duplo gear because it really helped me to create this movable part, which I think is just a lot of fun. And of course, the little sequence inside of it, move with it. And I didn't attach this little box smack center on the little gearbox, so it moves off center. And I like that as well. I enjoy the little beads, and just generally I like these colors, the difference between the blue and the turquoise, and I think it came out quite pleasant. And it was a lot of fun to paint. I really like this fiddling with it and bringing different shades and highlights in. That was a lot of fun. And on the sides too, the way I added the gesso in the beginning really left this nice texture. And so when I went over it with lighter metallic paint, it really brought it out. So I really like this. And up here in the compartment too, it has a little bit of a gold and turquoise color, not much. Most of it is pretty plain and black. And I like this combination. Many of the old-fashioned assemblage pieces I saw are objects put into little compartments of a shadow box. So this is very much the old style compared to this, which I think it's more a modern mixed media way of dealing with assemblage pieces. So I really hope you enjoyed this. I hope it gave you some good ideas, and I hope you will be back to watch more of my videos. I look forward to seeing you real soon again. Bye bye for now.